Let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson to talk a little bit more about all of this. So, Jessica, mostly what we've been talking about leading up to this is the possibility of this kind of what they call a novel situation, being charged with falsifying business records, which is a misdemeanor, but then linking it to campaign finance charges that would then, make it a felony. But now this morning, there seems to be more and more talk about other possible charges. So, based on what we know about, who the grand jury talked to, what sorts of charges could we be looking at?
Well, actually, I'm going to change my answer just in the last 20 seconds based on what Graham said and that conversation you had with him, which I thought was so interesting about this case potentially being charge ready based on what Michael Cohen did and what he pled guilty to in open court. We all remember that Michael Cohen served federal prison time in part for a campaign finance violation. And the federal prosecutors looked, as you just discussed with Graham, decided not to charge, but President Trump was individual number one, who Michael Cohen said, I made these illegal payments at the direction of individual number one. So I now feel like our original thesis that falsification of business records could be hooked to a federal charge involving campaign finance, that might actually be even stronger now. But we, of course, to your question, we don't know what's in the indictment. So we could be looking at campaign finance charges. We could be looking at wire fraud, at banking fraud. There's, of course, the route that's possible that this New York prosecutor decides to hook that falsification of business records to another state crime. In some ways, that might be legally easier for him. That state crime could involve, for instance, trying to engage in a conspiracy to unlawfully elect or defeat a candidate. And then lastly, there is still that set of facts dealing with potential financial crimes involving Trump and the Trump organization that the New York Attorney General has moved forward with in a civil case. And that very briefly involves the allegation that the former president and his organization lied about the value of properties in order to pay lower taxes and then get bigger loans. And that absolutely is on the table as well.
Yeah, and I heard some reporting about Weisselberg changing his attorneys. So we'll see what that means. But I want to go back to sort of one of the things that you said about the key role of Michael Cohen. And yes, he, served time for this very charge, essentially. But isn't he a bit of a double-edged sword? Like, he's the guy in the middle, but he, is serving time for admitting to lying to Congress. That being said, once he decided he was going to come clean, he's basically maintained the same assertion. He hasn't waffled. Is he a good or a challenging individual to pin this case on?
Yes and yes. I mean, I think you laid this out perfectly. And prosecutors throughout the country right now, if they're listening, are saying, I've had a witness like this, because you don't get the witness typically who has the spotless record. If you have a witness involved in cases like this, oftentimes they have been convicted of something. In this case, he is a convicted felon. He did admit to lying. But I think it is possible, as you laid out, that the prosecutors could rehabilitate him, could say, but a federal judge said, we're accepting this plea in open court. The federal prosecutors looked, you agreed, your defense attorney agreed, a federal judge agreed that this is what happened. And you've stuck to that story since, and basically ask what his motivation for lying then and then continuing to lie for years would be. So is he perfect? Of course not. But most witnesses do have something in the record where you have to explain to the jury, yes, this is not the perfect person, but here's why you believe them for this set of testimony.
All right. I know we're going to talk more about this because I think that's interesting, but it seems like a little bit of a long shot case. So I think you'd want like the best person to be at the center of it as possible. But it's early days. Before I let you go, I got to ask you about Tuesday. Donald Trump's going to be expected to surrender on this coming Tuesday. What should we expect from that? How should that play out?
So I think we know the steps that will be taken, but we don't know what they're going to look like. We know that he will be booked and arraigned, basically that he will become part of the system, that he will have fingerprints, I believe electronically, that there will be a picture, meaning a mugshot. I expect that there will not be the more theatrical aspects of this, that there won't be a quote unquote perp walk, that he will not be handcuffed unless he really advocates for that, which reports indicate that he might be. But he will be arraigned, he will hear the charges, and I expect that he will not have any time in custody, both for practical reasons and for safety reasons. Let's all remember these are nonviolent crimes that we're talking about. And then the next steps will be pretrial hearings. But it will be usual and unusual at the same time, which Anne-Marie, you and I have talked about for a long time regarding some of these cases involving the former president.
Yes, there is no normal. There's only new normal. Jessica Levinson, thank you.
Thank you.